And can everyone hear me okay? Is that a yes?
Yeah.
Yes.
Great. Thank you. Okay, so good morning. Hope everyone's doing well. My name is Lyle Benjamin. I'm the founder and executive director of Planet Acts of Kindness and One Planet, One People. And today we're going to go ahead and talk about you, your backgrounds, and how you can participate in our internship mentorship program. Okay, and what that means for you. So what we're going to have you do initially is go around and say who you are, what school you attend or attended, and what your field of study is. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and talk a little bit about that. And after you're done speaking, go into the chat and add that same information in the chat, but include also your email and your phone number. Okay? So, what I'm going to have you do, first of all, because I see some very somber faces, and you shouldn't be coming into a Zoom meeting when you're hopefully excited about participating with a somber face. So, Stanley already has the right idea, right? I want you to smile. Let's get the facial muscles working this morning, okay, no matter where you are in the world, all right? So, can I get a smile out of everyone? Hi, how you doing? Engage. Okay, that means you, Justin. There you go, right? Aaliyah? Okay, thank you. And Jana. Okay. So I think now we're in the right framework for moving forward. This isn't something where I want you to sit there during the meeting like that. Okay? That's for people who are disengaged, who don't want to be there. Okay? You're taking time out of your schedule, okay, to learn. And this is one of the things that makes our program different from a regular internship. It's a mentorship program. So when you go into meetings in companies that you're working for or places where you're interviewing, you want to have the right demeanor when you go in there. Because if you don't, they're not going to tell you anything. But you're not going to get the objective achieved that you want to get achieved. And it starts with actually, right, first impressions. Or it starts with how you come and the energy you bring, right, to the program. Does everyone follow what I'm saying? So think about that when you're engaging today, and we will get more into it as we go along. Okay, so who would like to go first?
I guess I'll go first. Volunteer.
Okay, sounds good.
All right. My name is Stanley. I am a operations manager for a party entertainment company. I graduated from Brooklyn College with a business administration degree. That was about 2 years ago, and I am currently looking to volunteer somewhere as part of my New Year's resolution, and that includes learning new things, volunteering, and yeah, that's really it.
Okay, great. So what we have today is actually a mix of different people. Okay, so I was unaware of that. I'll speak to Ha about that. Okay, so great. That's absolutely wonderful. I just got off a call with a company that it's a global financial service company. They have 5,000 people in the company, and they want to bring us into their company to provide volunteer work because the company pays for all 5,000 people to volunteer. And they selected our company, and they want to get all their people involved. So that's really great. We'll definitely provide things that will be of interest to you and your organization and different ways than you've ever seen before to go ahead and make an impact in the world. Because that's what it's about. It's about making an impact, getting people involved where they're going to take action on something that's based on their interests, right? So that they're engaged with it, so that they go to meetings smiling, okay? Because they know that they're doing something that's involved with quality of life and is important. Okay,
Yep.
we'll definitely get into that. Okay, so very good. If you can put your info in the chat, thank you. And say also that you're working already with a company. Okay, that would be great. So who's next? And actually, Stanley, right? Why don't we make this proactive? Why don't you pick the next person who can speak, who can share?
Okay. Let's do Justin.
Okay, so my name is Justin Josephs, and I'm currently a high school senior graduating early in January. Currently, the major that I'm interested in has to do with international relations and political science, but in order to learn more about the environment around me, I'm trying to volunteer at different organizations so I can learn what in the world genuinely needs change in order to impact it.
Okay, very good. And I applaud your initiative, okay, at your age in order to really step up and you want to do things on a big platform. Okay, so you found a big platform. Now it's a question of what you're going to do with it. Okay, so we will see. Great. Okay, who's next? You, Justin, pick the next person.
Aaliyah.
Hi, I'm so sorry. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, sorry, my headphones outside.
Okay, now what you're saying is coming in intermittently. Um, is it your internet
My name's
connection?
Alea.
I like that. She's on the move. She's really motivated. Okay.
Is this better? Is it-
Yeah, we have a little bit of wind behind you, but that's fine.
Oh, I'm so sorry. My name's Alia. I'm a second year pre-law student at UCLA. I'm currently studying business and public affairs, but I am switching to communications very soon.
Okay. And we are deeply involved in all of these things that you just mentioned. All right. So, what's your reason for going into, uh, these areas?
I've always been very interested in business and entrepreneurship, which I'm minoring in. But I think I'm a lot better at public affairs and communications, and I want to pursue something that I can excel at rather than, even though I'm interested in business, I'm not very good at it, and I do want to excel at whatever I choose to do.
Okay. Okay. So you're taking the personal approach. Okay, fine. And the thing is that what we do is what I call social responsibility entrepreneurship. It's different than anything you've ever seen at an MPO before because I come from an entrepreneurial background. And I apply how I did that for startup businesses as on a large scale to what we're doing in the nonprofit world, but I'm applying business principles to it. So the thing is that what someone might see is how to engage through a social responsibility program that deals with climate change or that deals with pollution, that deals with youth education. They're seeing the outreach and the implementation of that. But for all the different programs that we have, we've also got a business entrepreneurial side to what we do in terms of how we can engage companies and even governments so that it can become scalable. Okay? So, what you're going to learn is actual entrepreneurship. What you're going to learn, let's say, is actual marketing, and you can apply that to X, Y, and Z because what people call entrepreneurship today, and this is also involving communication, by the way, is really just business. And the reason why it's really just business in 98% of the time is because of how these people develop their own companies. normally people, what they do is they work for a company, they get to see how that company operates, and then they want to make a change to those operations or to the product design or development, and they form their own company in order to bring that to fruition. And then they call themselves entrepreneurs. Okay, what they really are business people. And they use the word entrepreneur to really try to set themselves apart, but it doesn't really meet the true definition of the word. Okay, so, and that's applicable, that comes all the way down to education as well. So, right, if, let's say, someone was working at the counter in Macy's in New York City, and they're doing cosmetics, right, what's their position called?
Salesperson?
Yes, they're a salesperson. Okay. Now, if you go to school and you want to go ahead and get involved in educating companies about products and services and whatever, right, you get a what type of degree? You get a marketing degree. Okay. But when you go into companies, when you just graduate with your 4-year marketing degree from NYU or whatever college you went to, what you're going to be doing is sales. You're not going to be able to go ahead and have input into your company's marketing decisions. Your company's marketing decisions were made at the CEO level, C-suite level, and sometimes they hire companies and they bring them in order to go ahead and provide the program that they're going to do. And sometimes they just adopted from the company that they came from earlier and used that model. So the thing is, if your universities said, hey, you're going to get a 4-year degree in marketing, but what you're really going to be doing is sales, what do you think that would do to their numbers? It would go way down. But that's really the reality. So companies call what they do marketing. Schools call what they educate. And they might educate in marketing, but what you're really going to end up doing is sales. Okay? So it's just another way of people communicating things in order to go ahead and elevate. It's like banks in the financial industry. They elevate people to vice president in like every branch that they have, even though those people aren't really doing the work of vice presidents in the corporation. Okay? It's a communication tool. So you're going to learn about a lot of different business things and how they apply to the industries that you're talking about. Okay? And it's going to be a very eye-opening education. All right, next person up.
Hi, my name is Anjana. I am,
Get to pick though, Aaliyah,
isn't,
I
right?
think Anjana left. Yeah.
Okay. We don't want to deprive you of that, that feeling of,
Okay.
Thank you very
yeah,
much.
sorry.
well, you're welcome. Okay. But thank you for
Um,
the initiative on, Anjana. Okay.
yeah, my name is Anjana. I'm a 4th-year student at Stony Brook University. I'm studying health science, concentrating in healthcare informatics. And I'm on my winter break currently and was hoping to take this opportunity to volunteer somewhere. And yeah, and I happened upon Planned Acts of Kindness.
Okay, great. So who here is interested in volunteering? Raise your hand. Okay, so everybody's interested. And no one is here for an internship, mentorship program. Is that correct? Okay, so Okay, they evidently scheduled. All right, no problem at all. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share information about the organizations, because there are actually several organizations that work together in order to accomplish our objectives. And I'm going to go quickly through programs, and we're going to talk about how you can participate on an individual level, but also if you're interested in doing something on a larger scale where you want to go ahead and pull together and manage a team because you want to be a leader in this area. So there's two things that you want to think about. One is, right, what am I interested in, and how can this organization, right, help me satisfy my interests while making an impact in the world? Okay? Because this isn't about us, it's actually about you. All right? And then, if you're interested in management and leadership, there's going to be opportunities for you to excel at that. And we have lots of different ways for that to happen. Okay? So first we're going to go through the scope of what we do. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and set up for sharing screen. And once I get that done, then away we'll go. I've got to actually clear out a lot of windows. Okay. And let's see. Now I got to call up the right program. Okay. Let's see. One sec here. My computer had shut down on this program, so it's opening. It's opening up, I hope. Okay. And here we go. Okay, now what you're going to see actually are pages that are in a book that we're coming out with in the beginning of January, right around the corner. And this is a guide to what people can do in conjunction with our organization. Okay, so now let's see, I'm in Zoom. And here we go. Okay, now can everyone see the screen okay?
Yeah.
All righty, and let me just go ahead and bump this up. And let's see. Okay, so in January, actually by around the 10th, we're coming out with something called the One Book. And in the One Book, it explains our organization's mission, our vision, and what people around the world can do to collaborate on issues that are important to them. So how people can use the book, okay, it's you get an overview of the program, and you go through the book, you find things that speak to you, and then you decide where you want to go ahead and operate these programs, whether it's back in your home, whether it's in your school, whether it's in your faith-based organization, your NPO, NGO, or your company or government agency. Where do you want to bring these programs to have an impact? Okay? And what we do are planned acts of kindness, not random acts. Random acts have very little staying power. Planned acts have the ripple effect. Okay? So I'm going to go through this actually very quickly until we get into the content about the programs. So there's just, in the book, it shows different ways that people can get involved. And you can see I'm in the design phase with some of this. I'm going to skip over. We also have a karma constitution, which governs what we do. And all of our programs, as you'll see, are fully aligned with the United Nations 17 Sustainable Development Goals. 2022, we're launching that as the year of one planet, one people. And our goal by 2025 is to have 8 billion planned acts of kindness done. Okay, so if you're not familiar with the UN SDGs, you will be, okay, shortly. Okay, so what we do is we always go ahead and work towards collaboration between people, institutions, and countries. And our programs are built on the principles of civility, equality, education, action, inclusion, and sustainability. In other words, quality of life for all. They're fully customizable and scalable. And we produce everything from books to courses to workshops, activities, and events in order to do outreach and engagement. Okay? So everyone following so far? Okay, great. So we are at the tipping point for humanity. And this decade is going to determine quality of life for billions of people. Who agrees with that? Raise your hand. Who hasn't thought about it? Who disagrees with it? Anyone disagree with that statement? Okay. So the thing is, we have to stop using a fractional approach to solving global issues like climate change, pollution, pandemics, right? Racial, economic, health inequities. That's what we use currently, and it just doesn't work. Think about it. We're still in lockdown to a certain extent because we started with a fractional approach. And we're still maintaining a fractional approach all over the world. Okay? So we've got to go ahead and change that. All right. So we've got to collaborate to succeed. Actually, we've got to collaborate to survive, as you'll find out why. So what's your cause? What's your mission? What's your passion? So think about those things when you go through. Now, what we're doing is we're establishing collaboration cycles in order to go ahead and do this. And the way that this works is we're creating what's called a global collaboration think tank. And we're inviting influencers, corporations, government agencies, NPO, NGOs, faith-based organizations, and schools into the collaboration think tank. They choose what SDGs they're aligned with, and we break them into teams where we meet to go over what are the objectives that we need to achieve to solve this. What are the problems associated with it? And then what are the solutions? And the solutions come from multiple sources. They come from the scientific arena, they come from the business arena, and the academic. And then we determine what are the actions that individuals and institutions need to take in order to implement and solve these issues. And then we have delivery systems to reach out to the 5 types of students, the 5 groups of, the 5 groups of individuals that we work with: students, employees, owners, right, the unemployed, and retirees, where they can take individual personal responsibility on things. But then we also work with the 5 types of institutions from the top down, so we can reach larger and larger numbers. Our goal is to bring in 500 institutions per quarter into the think tank, 2,000 a year, 10,000 after 5 years, so that we actually can push back on these tipping points. Everyone understand the system? Okay? The problem is that we're not using a collaborative approach, and we're not having a system that can move us forward. This solves both of those issues. Okay? Now, let's put that into practical application. So what we have is a collaboration impact area. So, from our research into this area, and that's what we do, one of the things we start off with is research. Okay? We identify what the problem is and then how to go ahead and address that. What are the solutions? So when we apply that to the U.S. prison system, we find that the U.S. is number 1 in the world with prison population, almost 2,200,000. What are the 2 most populous countries in the world? Anyone know?
Isn't it China and India?
Bingo. That's correct. Their population to combined is almost 3 billion people. The population of the U.S. is 10% of that. Yet we have more prisoners than both of those countries combined. So, is this a good thing to be number 1 in the world in? No. Okay, we spend $1.2 trillion in incarceration costs. Almost 84% of the people who are in prison return to prison once they get out. These are horrible, horrible, statistics, but they're really people behind them. That's, really the unfortunate thing. So, what we do is we have a mechanism for turning this around, and it starts with establishing our EQL system in schools, which is Education for Quality of Life, where we bring our planned acts of kindness into school systems in our country, right, and then also around the world. And what it does is it provides kids with an opportunity to do daily planned acts of kindness that they can do with their friends, their family, right, in their community, and they get recognized and rewarded based on what they do during the month. And there's programs for youth as early as 4 years old. Then there's programs that go into middle school and high school with our One Planet, One People Club program, our Serum program, and then there's programs that go into homes, faith-based organizations, other NPOs and NGOs around the world, governments, and even businesses, where we apply corporate social responsibility, which is where a company wants to look good for their shareholders and stakeholders, to actual programs that benefit their employees and their families, so they apply corporate social responsibility to their own people, where they show their own people in the company or organization that they care about them as individuals, not just objects to be used to increase the company bottom line. The sum of these programs are to provide people with a lifelong support system that's there to obtain and maintain quality of life. And the additional benefits for society are the reduction of people entering and returning to prison, lower government expenditures, which means higher tax revenue. When you take off hundreds of thousands of people out of the prison system, they're now working. They're now providing for their families. And they're increasing the tax revenue for local, state, and national government. It improves population health and well-being. It commands safer communities, stronger families, and lower death and suicide rates, because people in the prison system have the highest in the country. But also collaterally, it reduces gun violence. It reduces bullying in school. It reduces racism. It reduces religious intolerance, gender bias. So the effects of this, are enormous through all stratas of society. So everyone see how this works? And what we're doing in January is we're making this program available to every member of Congress, House of Representatives, the Senate, to every governor in every state, every mayor in major cities, as well as the superintendent of prisons in those states, and individual wardens of different prisons. Because we have programs that actually go into the prison system that helps them while they're in prison, so when they get out, they have a reason not to go back in. And they have the capability of staying out and doing some meaningful things in society, including supporting their families. Because the training programs that they get when they get out of prison, they're not even interested in. Okay? So we're providing a completely different system to tackle this particular issue. Okay. And whenever I talk about these programs, don't think of them as, that's interesting. Think about how you can be involved in any aspect of those programs. So, what's the connection for you? Okay, now going back to the Collaboration Think Tank, we have a program for volunteers, for professionals, industry experts, retirees, college students, and grads, where they get to go ahead and contribute to turning back these tipping points and improving quality of life for people. And they can choose what area they want to go into. Data and analytics, meetings and events, marketing and public relations, and business development. So, out of these four things, who's interested in the data aspect? Who's interested in meeting and events? Who's interested in marketing and public relations, which is also communications? Who's interested in business development? So, right here, we cover all your bases, right? And you can choose what STG you're interested in. See, so this is about really fulfilling your objectives in conjunction with our programs. You can become a collaboration ambassador around the world. Who speaks more than one language? Raise your hand. Okay, well, Justin, you and I, we're the low people on the totem pole here. Okay, so the thing is, you can go ahead and engage with other people around the world through your use of language. And if you come from a different country, you can go ahead and do work in that country, even though you're here in the United States, and make an impact in that country. And we're going to show you how to do that. Okay? So, okay, this gets into more about, right, from our statistical analysis of data over 20 years, right? If you're in an organization or with a company, or you don't think that this is really going to have an impact on you, right, this is where we show you that's not really correct. Because your business might not be able to be in business 5 years down the road because of things like hurricanes, floods, loss of electricity, droughts, fires, and things like this, because of how they're escalating tremendously in the last few years. And even though it might not impact you 100% where you are, it might impact one of your suppliers that's integral to you doing your business. It might impact your customer base. You understand? That's what's going on right now because of the pandemic, right? It's interfering with the supply chain. Okay? So that things are going ahead and costing a lot more because there's scarcity. Okay? So we've got one people, one planet. We're all in the same ecosystem around the world. We just don't act like it. And everything's connected. And it's more than just the butterfly effect. So, the one book is the collaboration guide through all of this. Okay, so what we say in the book is that we're all in this together. Okay, and it doesn't matter how you're connected, it matters that you take action. So, no matter who you are, you're more connected and more powerful than you might think. And that's what we're going to show you, how you can go ahead and have an impact to other people. Because when you think about volunteering, right, what do you think about normally? Oh, what are some of the places that people volunteer? Go ahead. Speak up.
Food
Food
pantry.
shelters.
I'm sorry, say again?
I said food pantry. I'm sorry.
Food pantry, right. What else?
Animal shelters.
Animal shelters, People also go ahead and they volunteer to clean up parks. They volunteer to go ahead and do fundraisers by doing a walkathon. Okay? And that's what people think are the traditional ways that they can fundraise. How much of an impact are people really making when they do that? Not a lot. Okay? If you didn't serve, food at a soup kitchen, if you didn't volunteer at a pantry, would people still get their food? Absolutely. Okay? We're not saying that those things aren't good to do, but there are more ways to make an impact on larger numbers of people, if that's your goal. And then what we're going to do is give you the systems to do that. And what you do is you share the one book or specific programs with your community. And you don't need to explain everything in detail. We do that. And when they collaborate, you're the hero because you made it happen, and we can make it quantifiable. Okay? So you can actually see the impact of what you're doing. So if you want to go ahead and work within the school system, well, we list all the different things that, you can do for that. If you're in a company, right, or a franchise that deals with all of these different aspects, well, there are ways that you can go ahead and impact your company or that industry. and we're going to show you how to go ahead and do that. If you're in a nonprofit, non-governmental organization, we're going to show you how. And if you're in a faith-based organization, these are all the different ways that you can connect. And in government agencies, there's all these different government agencies that actually we can collaborate with. So what we said is, we want you really to be the hero in this. It's not about us, it's about you. And getting started is easy. You can share the one book, and we do the heavy lifting. What we didn't say is that the more you do, the greater your rewards. And that's through Planned Acts of Kindness and the Karma Club. Has anyone been to our website or have our app yet? Okay, great. Some of you do. Okay, if you see over my shoulder, there's a QR code. You can take out your phone and scan that, and that will add the app to basically your desktop on your phone. Okay, it won't add any memory. It won't take up any memory on your phone. It's a new type of app, which is great. So it's called a progressive web app. But the thing is that you might want to do that because that's a way that you can connect a lot with our programs and also, connect with us easily. Okay. So now, if you want to have a greater impact and you want to up your challenges, it doesn't matter, like we said, how you're connected. It matters that you take action. And in the book, this is sort of like a bulletin board that we created that gives people ideas of what they can do. So if you're in school, if you're teaching, you're an educator, there's ways that you can do. If you have experience in business development, crowdfunding, fundraising, grant writing, sponsorship, donations, special events, you can take that background and use it to make an impact. If you like social media, right, and you like any one of these platforms, you can become, right, a social media guru, right, in the organization. If you have certain causes that you like, if you want to operate on a global scale, if you like planning events, if you like sports, athletics, okay, we have ways to involve college athletics as well as professional. And if you like any type of journalism or broadcast, right, or things with the publishing industry, those types of things. So literally, almost anything you're interested in, you can go ahead and partner on. So let's go ahead and talk a little bit about your background and your interests. Okay? So, what I want you to do is share so I get a better idea. And if you still haven't put your information in the chat, please do so. What areas are you interested in making an impact in? Because we want to show you specifically how that happens. So, who'd like to go first this time? Okay, Justin, you're up.
One area that I'm currently interested in would be public relations.
Okay. All right. Now, public relations takes on a few different forms. So there's, right, everything from written PR, okay, with everything from press releases, right, to placing articles in other publications, to, right, more active involvement in terms of on social media, right, and surrounding specific programs where you work to go ahead and accomplish, right, objectives. So are you interested in both aspects or something more specific?
I would say both, but more so toward journalism.
Okay. So we're going to go ahead and get you involved in that and show you how you can engage with influencers, right, and other organizations in order to make things happen. But also think about, do you want to do it on an overall basis for the organization, or you want to do it on one or more of specific programs? Okay, because it can be in general, or it can be very targeted, or you can say, I want to learn how to do both. All right, so keep that in mind. Okay, who's next? Justin, you get to go ahead. Since nobody's speaking up, you get to call somebody out.
Stanley.
I want to definitely want to pick. Can we pick two categories, or is it?
Absolutely. Oh, absolutely. Sure.
I definitely want to pick business development,
Okay.
and I definitely would like to pick data analytics as well.
Ah, okay. Interesting. Because usually people, right? You know, it's like people get into computers and web and app development sometimes because they don't want to deal with people. Okay. So you want to do both. All right. So business development, all the programs that I put out that you're seeing, right? Those are the social impact aspects of it. But you're going to find that we have very sophisticated and customizable way to go ahead and collaborate with organizations on business development, where we're giving the organizations more of business programs that they can implement rather than traditional nonprofit programs, which is, oh, you get your logo on our letterhead, you get it on our banner, okay? You get to go ahead and have a presence at events, and that's the extent of it. We actually give business programs to them that are just like they would go ahead and ordinarily pay for programs to accomplish what they need. We have those types of programs. And we've got programs that go into HR that can help them recruit, retain employees, that can help them raise the level of their people into management and leadership mentalities and skill development, which then increases the overall performance of the company. Okay? And we're going to get into that a little bit later in the talk. So absolutely 100%. And we even have ways where, depending on what you're doing and what you accomplish, we'll go ahead, even though we don't have to because we're a nonprofit, we'll compensate you based on as a reward for what you've done. So I know that probably wasn't what you were thinking about, right? But we like to go ahead and do things kind of like more on the business side rather than just the traditional nonprofit side. Okay? So we apply a lot of business, like I said, principles, entrepreneurial principles to accomplishing things. So there's a lot in that area. I think you'll be very excited about it. And what I'm going to do is also meet with you all individually as well once you have the overview, so that we actually set up something, because it's about taking action. It's not just about education. I went to law school because I wanted to help people. Okay? When I was in law school, I took contracts. I didn't learn to write a contract till I was out of law school. Okay? That's not really a good educational system, right? Because there's no real world component to it. There's no action involved. All of our programs are based on the formula E plus A equals O. Education plus, and it's not just college education or high school education, okay, but education plus action equals objective. And it's always the objectives that we have in mind that we're trying to obtain. Okay, so on the right-hand side is a bulletin board for companies, and that's kind of our bucket list of what we're looking for on a more specific basis. So you'll have the opportunity to go through these things at a later date. They're really interesting. Okay, so well, instead of let's finish with people who haven't spoken then. Okay, I don't want to go ahead and be unfair. So next person up, go ahead and say what aspect you're interested in.
You want me to pick?
Anyone,
Go ahead. Or do you want
anyone
me to?
who wants to go can go.
I think I'm interested in the press release aspect of PR, and also, honestly, a few different aspects, but especially anything government or judiciary related, that as well. So anything with outreach, preferably written, communications related. I enjoy speaking to people and dealing with people. Public speaking is something I enjoy very much. So anything.
We'll give you great opportunities for all of that. So in other words, one of the things that we're doing, one of the things that we have to research when we come out with the one book, we want to give them to every congressman and every senator. Okay? Well, what's the best way to go ahead and accomplish that? And what does best way mean? Okay? So let's say we start with that in your volunteer activities. How are we going to go ahead and outreach to Congress? What are we going to say in the initial letter that goes to them? Okay? What do we want them to focus on here? Because you want to give them a clear direction to go through initially so they can understand. And then they can branch out to other things based upon their constituency. So that's what you'll be working on. Okay? And we're not going to limit it to members of Congress. We're going to go to governors and mayors, like I said as well. Sound good?
Absolutely. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay. Next up.
I'm interested in the data analytics and research aspect. That's something that I'd be interested in focusing on.
Sure. Absolutely. And as you see, right, we use a lot of that in our, in our research in order to go ahead and make that impact, because people don't always think about, and it's not just the data, it's what that translates to for individuals. Okay? So when we talk about, we got 2,200,000 people in prison, well, those are real people. Those are families that are affected. Okay? So the data takes us only so far, right? It's the engagement with the people that is really the important thing. We just use data as a tool. And you'll see about that more as we go. So definitely things. So with the Karma Club, I'm not going to go too much into that. That's our daily program, right, where people can go ahead and do planned acts of kindness, and we can have individuals taking personal responsibility, but then we can collectively get people together and they can go ahead and act as one to get companies and governments to do the right thing for kids, people, and the planet. Our goal by the end of 2022 is to be in all 200 countries where we've got literally tens of millions of people doing planned acts of kindness on a regular basis. And when you're in the Karma Club, right, you're then eligible for gifts and rewards based upon what you do during the month. And what I did was I gamified karma. So karma's been around for quite a while. Everyone knows what it is, right? It's right, what you do comes back to you. We deal with the positive aspects of karma. Okay, so that's the Karma Club. That forms the basis of a lot of our programs. And like I talked about before, our education for quality of life, getting planned acts of kindness into the school systems at an early age. Before COVID-19 hit, I was talking to the New York City Schools Sustainable Division of the New York Department of Education. Okay, and even though we deal with things like climate change and other issues, what they were interested was taking our club program and making it available to the 1,500 schools in the New York City school system. Okay, I was talking to the Department of Education minister in Beijing, China, because they were interested in putting our club program into the school system. And the way the club program works is people come in and based upon their interests, just like your interests, right, they determine, right, what areas they're interested in having an impact in, and then they work towards making things happen. And then each club is going to be able to produce a club magazine as well as a club television, internet-based, right, TV show that highlights what their members are doing on a local, national, or global scale. And then when we do our global magazine and our global shows, we can pull information out of different clubs and then feature those people in that club. So Justin, you might decide, hey, you want to have a club in your high school. Okay, you might decide, someone might decide that they want to have that in their college. And then they get to work on the things that are of interest to them in conjunction with the club. And now they're having a greater impact on other people by getting more people involved. This can actually be operating in a company or a faith-based organization. So that's the club magazine and video program, digital programs featuring members to engage and inspire action, right? And people join the club because they care about others and they care about the planet. And, you know, the way it works is the same, you know, already you're familiar with the system that we have. And we utilize the system over and over and over again. Okay, in application to the different programs that we have. So then we have our internship mentorship program that is recommended by schools from literally MIT to NYU, Columbia, University of Pennsylvania, all the way out to California, Florida, right, Texas. We have schools from all over that recommend us to their students. We normally would have, over the summer, 20 people in our office in New York City doing a live full-time internship for 3 months, but COVID did away with that, and we do this all remotely now. And we teach in 8 different foundation skills in addition to what people come into our organization for. So we teach real world experience, but we also go ahead and add in these 8 skills because this is what you need to move from a worker mentality into management and leadership. Communication, business, marketing, management, office technology, research, problem solving, and time management. And the way that we approach our objectives is we start with research. Again, that can be also data analytics. But we research into an area, we then go ahead and have to apply critical thinking to the information that comes back. We have to synthesize that information. We have to outline it so that we can go ahead and formulate a plan to move forward and that we can share easily with co-workers, right, or management or, right, third parties in the real world. And we also apply problem solving and time management to what we do, as well as you got to understand how this works in business and marketing and how you're going to do management and project management. Because, Stanley, what was your background in college? What did you study?
My concentration was business management, operations management, sorry.
Okay, operations. And what I teach my students is operations. The number one problem in companies, right, is that people don't follow operations. They don't follow procedures a lot of times. It's not really the number one, but the thing is that it impacts, right, the success of what you're working on if you don't follow the company's, right, procedures and protocols.
Yeah, people try to take shortcuts. They try to go around procedures, which causes a lot of discrepancies and problems along the way. So it happens.
It happens. So what we do also is we teach how to do project management, because most people don't think that that applies to what they're doing. They haven't even thought about it. So if you're in graphic design, if you're in public relations, if you're in communications, you still have to do project management in what you're doing. In data analytics, right? In obviously business, right? But the thing is that even if you went for your undergraduate or your master's degree, it's not something that's really taught. And these skills and everything you're taught in school is taught with that fractional approach as well, where you really need the collaborative approach to achieving objectives. If you want to be management, then it's not just a question of being the best in your company in terms of programming. That makes you a really good worker. Okay? If you want to be management, you got to understand, right, what the objectives are of the company, how to go ahead and achieve those objectives, how to work with coworkers, management, right, and, clients and customers. So this is designed to be skills that you're going to take with you for your entire lifetime. And we actually have, Stanley, a program that we're introducing to companies where HR could make that a part of what they offer, because people in companies want development in their career. Okay? And when they find that they don't get it from their company, they start looking elsewhere. So one of the things is that the company can bring us in and say, we want to go ahead and keep it open for everyone to go through that educational program. It's a certification program in these disciplines. Or they make it available to a select group. And that's another business development program that we have. Go ahead, you were going to ask?
Sorry, I was just wondering if you knew approximately how many countries PAC had a presence in, because you said the goal was 200 plus as of this, or I guess next year. So I was wondering if you knew how many PAC already has presence in.
I don't off the top of my head, but the thing is that what we're going to do is we're going to quantify it starting in 2022. When we launch One Planet, One People in 2022, that's when we start the quantifiable metrics on all of these programs. So it doesn't matter who's in now in different things. It matters who's signing up and representing in the future. So everything is reset in 2022, and we go from there forward. Okay? Because we want it quantifiable within a certain time period. You see what I'm saying? Okay. So, one of the things that we do is we take our approach and we apply that to different things, like student athletes and, who go to college, and how we can go ahead and get them to develop higher skill levels, because not everyone, and this is again from data and analytics, not everyone is going to go into the pros. So of the 1 million people plus who are playing football in high school, only 73,000 go into college football. Only 300 make it into the pros. So that means that your education really is critical to your long-term success. So we have multiple programs to go ahead, and not only for the student athlete, but also for the general public as well. So the thing is that for business development, Stanley, you're going to have a choice of what you want to go ahead and work on. So we have our career track management program, like I just said, which is the 8 foundation skills certification program, and bringing those courses into different institutions, or being specific in what institution you want to focus on. Our management and leadership training, whether you're an entrepreneur, business owner, whether you're in a leadership role in management, okay, we teach you how to understand and achieve company, organizational, and client objectives. This is what I was just talking about before, right? How to take our financial literacy program and make that available to more people, okay, to help you answer your financial, why, how, and what, to understand how money really works. Because if you go to school for your master's in finance, economics, or business, you're not learning how money works, you're learning how Wall Street works. Wall Street doesn't work for 95% of the population. I was just talking to a CPA last night, and the only thing that school teaches you that's of practical value for yourself and your family and your future is the time value relationship of money. But there are a lot of other concepts that you need to know, and there's a lot of other things that you can take advantage of. So the thing is that we have programs, Stanley, that can go into companies who have 401ks for their people, and with your 401k, all you have is the opportunity for growth. You got no safety, you got no protection, you've got no health advantages, and you've got no tax advantages despite what they tell you. So does your company have a 401k?
My company does, yeah.
Okay.
But I've worked for a company where that wasn't an option, that wasn't a benefit.
Okay, so we have the ability to make it available to companies that don't have plans, and we don't charge the company to set up, and we don't charge them to administer, and they don't have to do a match. But it's still a government regulated program, just like 401k. That's part of the tax code. This is part of the tax code that's used by the rich, but it gives much more protection, much more safety, much more tax advantages than your 401k does. So we make that available to people, but it's not only available for the employees. The 401k is only limited to you. It's not available to your spouse. It's not available to your kids. The programs that we put into place can be available to spouses and children as well. So you might be interested in something like that, okay? So, and this explains it much more in detail. The Career Track Management Certification. And then I've written a book called The Working Dead, which goes into those concepts, those financial concepts that aren't being taught, that everyone needs to know. Because from statistics, 71% of Americans don't believe they'll be able to fully retire on what they've made in their life and on Social Security. And people have an average of $10,000 in credit card debt. And 50% of your annual retirement income may go to the government as taxes increase. Since the tax code was started in 1913, there have been over 60 years where taxes have been 50% or more. Right now, they're at a low level. But Stanley, when you're ready to retire, there's a $30 trillion deficit in this country. That's the debt that the government carries.
Well, that's
Sustainable.
also why there's Roth IRA, which is limited to contribution per year. And, people also invest into other money assets like precious metals or property, things like that,
And there are advantages and disadvantages to all of those things.
of course.
And we get into those. Okay? So the thing is, this is designed to help everyone, not just the rich, even though we're using the tax code from the rich to do it. Sorry, my computer is lagging. And let's see, we'll finish up at 1:30, so you have a time frame, okay, for this, okay. And this goes into a course that we have called Money Matters Mastery, where we go ahead and teach people what they need in their foundation, okay, and how to deal with certain aspects of finances throughout their life. And then on the right-hand side is the custom benefit plan, and this is what we can put into companies and organizations and faith-based NPOs, and with what the benefits are. Okay, and let's see. One of the things that we've also done is we've partnered with an award-winning architectural company out of Asia who built the headquarters for Microsoft in Shanghai. And we've created a work-life balance program. And what it focuses on is that in today's environment, companies need more than just one central location for their people. So we've developed actually 4 different work environments that a company can adopt in order to benefit their people. And we've also given companies the opportunity to add in our quality of life programs into their team building, into their volunteer hours that they might offer for their employees, into fun projects that they can do on a local, national, or global scale, but also into the benefits that the worker gets, so that companies are taking corporate social responsibility and turning that towards their employees in order to provide better quality of life. And what that will do for the company is help them recruit and retain people. But what it does is, for the individual, it really helps them with what their objectives are for their own life on an individual basis, for their own family, for their own future. And we're making this available starting in January as well. And then for companies, we also have things to make their buildings more sustainable. So they can tell us their problems regarding climate change, sustainability, air, water, and noise pollution, all these different aspects. We have solutions for those, including developing rooftop space if they own their own building or work it out with their landlord, where we can convert that into usable space, which also helps accomplish these other things as well. We have books that people can work on. And we have the 16 Things books, which present 16 problems related to a specific topic. And then we have 2 experts that say why and what we need to do in order to solve that problem. So you can have a cause or an interest that you want to do. And for business development, it might be leadership in the world on certain issues. And you can actually work with us on getting a book done on leadership, where we're going to interview 32 CEOs from some of the largest companies in the world about what they think are problems in the world and what needs to be done to solve that problem. And you can go ahead and help put that together where your name is going to go into the book. So, Stanley, that's a completely different way of looking at business development. Okay? And you can project manage this. You can build a team to help you do it. Any way you want to go ahead and do it. And there's 3 different ways that we do books. So we do it from corporate sponsorship, we do it from a partnership, and we do it as fundraisers for other organizations. And Justin, what I'm talking to Stanley about, you might think, oh my goodness, I had no idea. I can apply this to, and I want to go ahead and do this because I can actually do public relations also at the same time. This is SIRM, this is Social Institutional Reform and Equality Month, where we do 31 days of panel discussions, interviews, and we record that, and then we put it into a calendar, into our app, where people can go ahead and respond to things like a panel discussion on racial equality, a panel discussion on wealth, a panel discussion on wellness, okay? And people can respond to that and then see how they can get involved also. So we also have our speakers series that we're going to be starting up, where we're inviting speakers from all over the world to speak on these different topics, and then we'll make their recordings available on a daily basis, and also through our app, right, where people can listen to TED-type talks on different issues. And for every issue, what does there have to be? Action. There has to be ways to go ahead and solve these issues. We're not just putting things out there. Think about all the things you've done in high school and in college. How many of those things had an impact in the real world? Think about it, right? Justin, you're just getting started, right? But you've turned in already, right, dozens and hundreds of assignments. You've taken dozens and hundreds of tests. Did any of them have an impact on the real world? No. Aaliyah, you're still in school. Does any of them make an impact in the real world?
Not very much, no.
No. Stanley, right? You did all business when you were going into school, right? Did any of them have an impact?
Definitely not.
Definitely not. All of our programs are designed to have an impact in the real world. So when you're coming in to volunteer, it's not just to go ahead and move things around. It's to have an impact. And I'm going to ask you when I meet with you individually, how big an impact do you want to have? The reason why I'm not teaching at a university, even though I've been offered professorships, is because I'm not interested in impacting 30 kids a semester, 300 kids a semester. In order to make the change that we need in the world, we've got to go ahead and impact a lot more people, millions. So I want to show you how, based on what you can do, you can impact not just a dozen, a few hundred, but literally thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, maybe even millions. So who's interested in that? Okay, well, you've come to the right place, okay, for 9 more minutes. Okay, this is a book I've written that we're introducing in 2022. It's called The Legacy Lifelines Memorial Special Edition. And what it does is it helps keep the joy and the memories of a lost loved one alive for yourself, your family, and future generations. And what we've pledged to do is give away a free book to every family in the world who lost a loved one due to COVID-19. So what we can do is we can partner with companies governments, MPO, faith-based schools, where they can custom brand the book, and then they can give the book away to their audience, to their shareholders, stakeholders, for free. That's business development. That's marketing and public relations. Okay? We're doing something called the Great Pizza Peace Plan. Who likes pizza? Justin doesn't. Justin, you're an outlier, buddy. Okay? You know? So the thing is, we're taking our PAC pledge that people can say in any language in the world. I hereby make a pact to treat others with respect and kindness, and to go through life from this day forward, acting towards others as I would wish to be treated myself. This is Lyle from New York, right, for planetacts.org and One Planet, One People. You can say that in whatever language you want. You can do a video. You can put it into our world video map on your app, okay, on our app. And the thing is, it doesn't matter what country, what nationality we have. We all want the same thing. We all want respect, and we all want quality of life. Isn't that true? So this is what we're working for. And our goal in the app, right, with this video pledge is to have tens, hundreds of millions of people around the world doing this. So you can drill down into whatever country you want, and you can listen to other people in their own language saying the same things that you want. That's how we start to work together. So you might be working, Justin, on making this happen, even though you only speak English. Sorry, buddy. Right? Okay. We're in the minority here. Okay. You guys can make it happen on a global scale. You can speak your own language, English, whatever else you speak, and you can put that out there in the world, and you can invite other people to do it, and you can apply business principles if you want to go ahead and make this program happen. And we've got really cool ways to make it happen. Okay? We're doing the one challenge. We want to raise $1 for every one person on the planet. $8 billion actually by the end of 2024. Okay, 2025. And during the pandemic, the first 9 months of last year, billionaire wealth went up by almost $4 trillion during the pandemic. They almost doubled their entire wealth. While what was going on in the rest of the world? Global workers were losing almost that same amount. There are less than 3,000 billionaires on the planet. Your college where you went to school might have more students attending your college than there are billionaires in the world. So this program is designed, we're putting all their names into our app. We're going to do outreach to all the billionaires and say, hey, why don't you give back to everyone for quality of life? So that's our goal. Our CAP program, and this is another thing that you can go into on your app, on the app on your phone. This is called Crazy Ambitious Activities Program. You might have a connection with government. You want to do something with government, with faith-based, with sports. These are all programs that you can actually do. Or you can create your own and come to us and say, hey, what about this? So go through the CAP program for ideas. You know, this is public service announcement. This is what PR companies and publicists do. They also go ahead and do, right? They make up little shorts that they can put on social media, on television. So you'll all be doing that. But you can do it from your own interests. You can inspire other people to do it from their interests in order to geometrically expand the mission. You can team build in what we call our Dirty Dozen team, where you can put together a group of 12 people that are going to work on whatever program that you decide, and there's a system for doing it. and you get a startup tactical kit, but you also might not agree to shave for the entire time, the entire duration of your Dirty Dozen Club. So Stanley, that might be easy for you, right? You're not going to shave, right, for 3 months while you're doing this program. But let's say you have women involved. Well, they agree not to shave, but where they decide, that's up to them, and they don't have to disclose it, okay? So the thing is, right, it's a fun thing to do based around a theme that actually works together as a team to get things done. Just like in the movie The Dirty Dozen, which nobody in our generations have seen. But it's very popular. This is another public relations as well as business development program. It's called Host and Post. It's getting these institutions to put our planned act of kindness on their website or on their app, where it automatically pulls each day into their company that daily planned act that they can share. It's also going ahead and getting companies who put together advertising on commercials or in magazines to take our PAC logo or our One Planet, One People seal and put that into their commercial. So they have a commercial on whatever, but it's got our seal, right, with our name in the corner. People are going to go, what the hell is that? And then they start investigating. That's going to get the company tremendous public relations. It's going to cost them zero money to do. And what's it going to do for us? It's going to increase our outreach and engagement all over the world. So you might be working on something like that, but you had no conception of it before you got into this call. And that's a really cool thing to do, where you can be impacting millions of people, tens of millions of people with that. So these are all entrepreneurial ways to go ahead and do things. This is my speakers series, what I speak about on financial and business as well as social responsibility. This is a game that I've developed. I put a hold on it because of COVID-19 and whatever, but it's One Planet, One People. It's a digital game. I've done game development. I've done national newsstand magazines. I've done best-selling programs, product, whatever. I've done startup businesses in different industries that were successful. I gave it all up to do nonprofit work because of my mission, which is helping others, because people help me, and that's why God gave me some skills. So that's why I'm doing what I'm doing. But we have a lot of other programs. We've got summits that you can work on. We've got donations and support. We've got sponsorships. So this is just a quick hit on what we're going to do. The next step is I'm going to put my phone number in the chat. And what I want you to do is text me directly your name and contact information. And then we're going to set up a new time for us to talk about what really grabbed you and how we're going to make it happen. Okay? So text me, get in touch, and then we'll go ahead and reach back out to you. We'll set up a next time. If you have an idea of when you want that to happen, put it into your text to me. Say, wow, I'm available tomorrow at blah, blah, blah. Okay? And we'll go ahead and do a Zoom meeting, just you and I, right, chatting about how we're going to make things happen, how you're going to be the hero, okay? Because that's what we want. So everybody good? Any questions that you want to ask right off the bat? You'll wait till we have our meetings.
Is there any way you could share this whole PowerPoint slide?
Yeah, this is actually the pages, some of the internal content that goes into the one book. Okay, you're going to put in your email. I'll get you some of the pages. The book is going to be available starting in like the second, third week of January. The actual printed book. The PDF book will be available the first week of January. Okay, and you'll see how that works and everything else. So yes, you'll be able to get information from here, definitely. Okay, absolutely. Okay, so again, thank you for joining us. I look forward to going ahead and working with all of you, right, on an individual, right, or a team basis, depending on how you want to come in. All right, and let's do it. It's going to take action to do it, so let's do it. We end each meeting with a smile and a wave. We all got difficult lives out there. We don't take care of ourselves sometimes as much as we need to. So if we get in the habit of smiling more, Justin, right, you're going to have an easier time with dealing with life. So we also want you to pass that on to other people that you meet. You smile more, they might turn around and smile more themselves. And this little ripple that we do might become a wave. And when we join the waves together, it can be a tsunami for change around the world. Because what we're going to do is ask companies and organizations and even classes in schools to start with a smile, end with a smile. Okay? Because everything goes from there. So, thank you. And we'll talk soon. Text me your info. Okay? Looking forward to it. Okay, thanks a lot, guys. Talk to you soon.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Okay, take care.